Tell me if this sounds at all familiar to you. So you hear your baby crying in the middle of the night. You wake up, you look at your clock, and you realize it's only been 2 hours since the last time they were awake. If that sounds familiar, you need to keep watching this video. Hi, my name is Jensine. I am your sleep BFF, and I take my years and degrees of working with children under the age of 4 and the science behind sleep and bring them together to give you real life strategies that are actually going to work. Because mom life, we can't have everything be perfect, but we want enough things to be going right that we are all getting the sleep that we deserve. So we are going to talk about your beginner's guide to night wakings for your baby. And there are a lot of things that go into night wakings. And if you have not yet watched my 5 reasons for night wakings video, you're going to want to go back to that. But this is going to have completely different information. This is kind of like the intro. So actually stay here, watch this video, then you're going to go watch that one after. And I will link it down in the description for you so you know what's coming next. So today we're going to talk about 3 things that are your beginner's guide to night wakings and what not to do if your child is having night wake ups to prevent them from happening in the future. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is turning on lights. So oftentimes a lot of parents, either when baby is sleeping in their room or their child is sleeping in their own room, once they go in, they will turn the lights on or they will turn the night light up really bright once they go in to help their child. And it may seem like that's a really great idea so you can be able to see what's going on and see if they need any intervention, but it's actually waking your child more. Children are very, very sensitive to light. And if you have talked to any sleep consultant, I'm sure that they have probably recommended having a nice, calm, dark environment for your child to sleep in that includes blackout shades. And it's not just the sunlight that impacts them, it's any light that they see in the middle of the night. It's gonna trick our bodies into thinking that it's time to be morning and that we actually should be awake and alert and not getting back to sleep. So if you do go into your child's room or your child is sleeping in your room, do not turn the full overhead lights on at any point during the night. And don't turn the night light up too bright. We're gonna want it to be bright enough where you can see and you are confident getting around the room, that you're not gonna hurt yourself or your child, but we want it to be dim enough and also red or yellow so that they're able to fall asleep easily. So definitely do not turn on those overhead lights at any point. This is for newborns up to anyone. You never want to turn on the overhead lights for any night wakings. The second thing that you're going to want to think about is to keep it nighttime. Keep that calm, quiet environment. Another thing that parents often mistakenly do when they go in or when they're trying to help their newborn is that they're making it like a little bit too fun. They're going in, they're talking to them, they're engaging with them, they're asking them what's wrong, they're telling them a story, they're just, saying things to keep themselves awake. And it's really, again, working against you because that indicates, I thought that I was going to sleep, but now it actually seems like it's playtime. Mom and dad is talking to me and engaging with me and making eye contact with me and blowing raspberries and tickling my belly. And while that's fun and adorable, and we love to hear our babies laugh, we still want to give them the signal that it's time to sleep and it's not yet time for them to be awake. So definitely keep it silent, keep it calm, keep it dark. If you have an older child, we're not going to bring them to the living room and turn on the TV. If you have a younger child, we're not going to play with them and put them on the play mat, anything like that. Anytime that is that 12 hours between bedtime and morning, we're going to keep it calm. We're going to keep it quiet. We're going to definitely keep it dark. So have you ever done any of those things accidentally? I know that a lot of clients I talk to are making these mistakes because no one ever told them. They just simply didn't know. So if this is something that has happened to you or you've been doing this and you're like, ooh, yeah, I guess I shouldn't be doing that, definitely pop it in the comments or just give this video a like so I know that there are people that are still struggling with this and this is a message that needs to be heard. And if you do know somebody that is having trouble with night wakings, definitely share this video with them so they can know if they are making any of these common mistakes as well. And the last one you're going to want to stick around for is you need to ensure that your baby is awake when I had to think about how I wanted to phrase that because oftentimes when we hear our children at night, our first instinct is to just like jump up and attend to them. And I still do the same thing, even as a sleep consultant. My older son is 6 at the time I'm recording this video, and sometimes he will talk in his sleep. He will call out things. He will yell at his brother. And anytime I hear that at night, I am up out of my bed so fast, I don't even know what happened. I'll jump up and I'll start to go to the door and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And he is all the way asleep. I have, in my like half asleepness, gone into his room and I just stand there and stare at him like, okay, I can't believe he was just yelling because he is out cold. So this is something that often parents, especially moms, we're so alert and attuned to our children that any noise that they make, we just automatically jump in and try to save the day. But that actually is probably causing more night wakings because they could have figured that out on their own. Maybe they actually weren't going to wake up and they were just transitioning between sleep cycles. But because we came in and because we intervened, it actually did cause a longer wake up than it needed to be. So anytime you hear your child, pause. That's the first thing you want to do. Even if your body just instinctually jumps up, try to hold yourself back and give yourself a second and say, okay, are they actually awake? Are they just shuffling around? Do they just cry out in the night and then get themselves back to sleep? Do I actually need to provide any intervention here? That is probably going to cut out like half of your night wakings if you just give it a pause to see if they can do it on their own before jumping in and intervening. One of the biggest things that people are worried about in this night waking situation is the crying. They don't want their child to cry because they're worried that they're hungry. They don't want their child to cry because they don't want them to start at a whimper and then escalate. They don't want to wake a spouse, someone else that lives in the home, an older sibling, a younger sibling. So that crying is really, you're trying to mitigate the problem before it actually becomes a problem. But sometimes that just means our children never get the chance to really work through something that they are trying to work through on their own. So if crying is something that is a concern for you and you feel like, I don't want my baby to cry for long periods, I don't want my baby to really cry at all as we're making any changes to their sleep and trying to get them to sleep longer stretches, then the pinned video in my channel is for you. And I'm also going to link that down below because that's going to be super helpful. It's going to address kind of that big elephant in the room of crying, why it happens, how we can understand it, and how you can actually use what those cries are saying to get you all more sleep, which is what we want, right? We want the best sleep we've had since becoming a parent. So if that interests you, go to either the link in the description or to the pinned video on my channel, and you will get all the goods on crying and how it actually is a little bit helpful while you're trying to do any sleep training or make changes to your child's sleep. So I'll see you there.